in a row. But if you look at Sniper's champion pool as well, it has been the Renekton or the Jax for pretty much everything.
Yeah, there were 8 Renektons on that champ pool comparison. We already see some. I like Fly removing the Ziggs from 100 Thieves. I feel like that's something we saw them pilot super, super well in their series against C9. And then 100 Thieves, I appreciate the Nasus ban. They don't want to pick Garen into it. They don't want to give that up to Quad.
I mean, a lot of these picks really are nods to what we've seen from the teams in the previous series. You look at the Smolder, we think back to what FlyQuest was doing earlier in playoffs with the Smolder Ivern comps, these scaling compositions. Obviously, Quid known as this melee mid lane specialist. That's the Yone ban that we've seen. It got taken away from in an earlier series where then went to Yasuo. So we know that these teams are going to be trying to fill each other out in this game number 1 for the picks and bans. And the Renekton is already locked in. And Sniper, he actually had a little bit of a prediction on this. And let's hear what he had to say.
I do think Bwipo is a... I'm just going to straight up say it. I think he's a Renekton one trick, and when I played against him, like, if he's not on that champion, you're not going to do too hot, you know? So I do feel like I actually have an advantage over him, and that although he's still a good player, I do think that, yeah, I'm going to beat him.
Well, the reality is he is on that champion, so we're going to have to see if Sniper can deal with it, because he is on the Ksante. He's playing that tank style that is really not what he is known for.
Yeah, and there's no spice here. We have seen Renekton Ksante for what feels like an eternity in professional play. Not too many surprise factors will be brought up there. In 100 Thieves, they've also gone more standard with the rest of their opening of this draft. This is going to be a pretty straightforward draft, you have to feel like, for them. With Azir being added to it, just do some front to back, has pretty good scaling. Now, Quad, though, has had very good answers into the Azir, and the Aurelion Sol was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think he looked really, really good on that champion previously.
Is this some JoJo flame? The
yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking they're just kind of like, oh, remember this. But obviously, Aurelion Sol already locked in. I really enjoyed Quad's Aurelion Sol previously. And then also on the other side, it's, people might not remember, but when Quid first came to LCS, Azir was his most comfortable pick that he consistently locked in. We also see Inspired is still on the Amumu train.
And this is becoming the LCS special. You know, globally, it's only been picked 3 times in major regions outside of the LCS in the entire summer split. We've had series where it was pick or ban in every single game. Inspired then brought it into his next series against Cloud9, and now bringing it here to finals weekend.
And against Team Liquid as well, they did it, but TL, their Maokai priority was even higher than the Amumu priority. And 100 Thieves here, we already saw River have an amazing game on the Maokai, specifically versus Cloud9, targeting JoJo, never letting JoJo in, always just shutting him down. It's way harder to do that to Aurelion Sol, because Aurelion Sol has way more range, doesn't have to go so far in and expose himself. But Maokai is still just such a valuable pro pick because of the versatility of the champ. You have lots of range and options for your objective setups later on into the game.
Yeah, it's also really interesting, this combo of Amumu plus the A-Sol. The Amumu actually sets up really well for the Aurelion Sol follow-up damage because the E-Execute can be channeling on everyone in that ultimate. You can also throw your ultimate over top. Everyone's locked down to guaranteed be hit by that ulti falling down. A lot of bot lane bans coming through, though, as Kalista going to be banned away by 100 Thieves. Braum going to be banned the other side by FlyQuest, as they are targeting these duo lanes here.
Yeah, and I like the Kalista ban from 100 Thieves. They know that that's something that the FlyQuest really like for Massu, and they have enjoyed playing more of those lanes. We also see the Kai'Sa pick. Both of these teams have played Kai'Sa really well in a lot of their compositions, so that is also going to get taken off the table for Massu.
All right, what else are we trying to take away? The Braum was the first ban here for FlyQuest, so that makes you think that they're looking at like Leonas and stuff that would be countered by Braum in the bottom lane. Braum is so good defensively versus a lot of those melee engaged champions. And Busio's been very good as an engager for FlyQuest throughout this split and throughout playoffs. And every time that FlyQuest have gone Aurelion Sol, they have paired it with utility bottom lane, namely Ashe plus another engaged support for Busio. So I expect them to continue with this formula. So far, their drafts have been some of most methodical drafts of the LCS, and it does look like they're continuing in the same vein.
And Massu has been so good with coordinating his Ashe arrows with the rest of the team. It's almost become a hallmark of FlyQuest as a team over their past series. I've really loved Massu on this pick, especially when you do have high damage carries elsewhere. I think they've played it really, really well. And now we'll just see what, oh no. Busio probably gonna lock in the Leona. Yep. There we go.
It gives them two strong forms of engage to potentially set up here. They obviously have the Amumu for our flash engages. They have the potential flank from the Renekton. So a lot of go buttons here. But clearly 100 Thieves, saw the writing on the wall with those first 3 picks that it could be a lot of dive coming through. And that's why I think Tomo is playing a safe AD carry like the Ezreal. You can expect him to have cleanse. I'm just going to be interested to see what Eyla brings out, if it's going to be more hard engage or something that is maybe a little bit more counter engagey that could answer what 100 Thieves want.
Ooh, a little bit of both here.
Okay.
A little bit of both, and the possibilities of roaming. Ezreal's so good at being left alone in the bottom lane, fairly safe, and so you can open up some room to roam towards mid and try and get fed there.
I will say, I do really like playing Bard into carries like Ashe, who don't have any sort of a dash. You can pretty much only answer, a short, medium range Bard ult with a flash when you are playing on that Ashe AD carry. So can be pretty difficult and can also be used defensively, as you were alluding to, Kobe. If they go for that hard engage, Amumu ult comes in and the follow-up is coming through, Bard can self-ult his teammates and try to immune that ace ult damage or whatever that could be coming through.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how early we are going to see either of these supports on the map as well. Yeah, Bwipo's had a lot of requests for fatherhood lately.
Requests for fatherhood.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Are we all Bwipo's children in one way or another?
I feel like we are.
We get the up and close and personal view. Oh, hello there. Hello there. Well... Oh, we get the fist bumps too. All right. Well, game 1 draft is done. We are loading into the game here. Let's hope for an exciting one. We got some cool picks coming out on both sides. FlyQuest versus 100 Thieves here to kick off the LCS 2024 Summer Finals weekend. It's going to be exciting.
Busio Bard in game number 1 here. Excuse me, Eyla. Eyla Bard.
You're so used to seeing Busio play it.
So used to him seeing, yeah, exactly is the point that we're looking for here, because Busio has definitely been a fanatic for it. This picture, by the way, we got this off of Sniper's Twitter.
Oh, Eyla maybe in some trouble. He actually didn't hold his skill point, so he could actually just be going down. He is dead already. Walked in, leveled up the... Didn't actually just skill E to get out of there. Flashes, dies, first blood for Massu.
Just rushing into the level 1 there, and Eyla already punished for playing Bard into Busio.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really costly mistake. Now Ashe is coming back to lane with paper bags and an extra pink ward there.
I mean, honestly, it really does make jungle think about their pathing as well, as far as everyone's going to be looking bottom now, because you can definitely repeat gank towards that bottom lane. I mean, here's the walk-in.
It's just so dangerous. Like it would be fine if you didn't skill your Q, right? Like if you walk in with nothing skilled, you can just level E and go over the wall there. Sure, your level 1's gonna suck, but you get out for free.
And like this is stage games right now, walking in on the big stage here with the big crowd right at the very beginning of the series. Definitely going to be a little bit off-putting, but they can just calm down and try to reorganize here. Still get back to pushing this lane. As you can see, looking for the brush positioning first.
Yeah.
This was the Discord predictions for the previous series that 100 Thieves won. Almost no one predicting for them. And again, today they come in as a big underdog. You saw on the desk, everyone is predicting for FlyQuest. But this is something they're used to at this point. They were overlooked. They were underestimated in that Cloud9 series. And we have to see how much have they learned from that series, from playoffs, and what can they bring to really make this a competitive one against FlyQuest.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is where is River, right? Because I feel like with him, with Quid, they are kind of the early game engine for this team. We see both junglers started on top side, so they both should be pathing down towards bot. But then the other big thing that's happening here is top and mid are getting absolutely shoved in.
And I mean, Inspired has a lot of respect for River. I got to watch the last series you did as well, Emily, with Inspired, when he was just talking about much respect about how this guy can really make miracles happen for 100 Thieves, and that he's really going to have to be on his game to be tracking him in the jungle, to be making sure that River can't be taking over, because that's really the main win condition most people are seeing for 100 Thieves would be mid-jungle.
And both teams will definitely be assuming that it is going to be just full clears, down to bottom lane, fairly calm for both of these jungles. So I don't see any changes in the early jungle play until maybe second clears or even after second clears, because we mentioned there was a ward on River at Raptors, so 100% FlyQuest do know is top down for them, and that is actually going to be seen. Inspired is going to immediately go back up for the top Scuttle Crab, where he's got his pushing Renekton. He does not want to try and fight over the bottom Scuttle Crab, where 100 Thieves have their Bard plus Ezreal pushing in.
Yeah, exactly. And Bard can respond so quickly with that magical portal into the river for those types of plays. So it is just going to be that full clear for both sides. But of course, FlyQuest does have the push top, a slight advantage there, and has that benefit of the early first blood onto Massu, which is going to help to accelerate him. Make him a lot more difficult to pin down as well. I mean, you're playing against 2 skill shot champions here in the bot lane, so boots first on Massu makes a lot of sense. If you could dodge the skill shots, 100 Thieves 2v2 doesn't have a lot of threat.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, again, like the big thing to me is where River and Inspired are. Inspired might be looking...
I think what he was doing there was waiting for...
Inspired's behind, and we'll see. Flash forced. And that's all he needs to get done here. Delays the base a little bit, so he is a tiny bit behind tempo on River, but gets that summoner out.
And look at the ward that he placed behind the Raptor Brush preemptively as well. Now the minion wave is coming, so you can't really get a Q through that. But he waits around, places that ward too. They were thinking about the second spawn of Raptors, but is just going to have no items and have to go into his second clear because he spent so much time there burning the flash and getting that mid advantage for quad. It is going to mean that his second clear is going to be without purchase.
And you can see how nervous Quid is playing around this, right? You know, he's playing so far back. He knows that he could be getting attacked from either side. He doesn't have great vision. He does have one ward on that bot side that will spot Busio. But again, this is meaning he's having to drop CS here. He's down 9 CS already. There's less for him to farm. And largely, it's just off of that gank and the implied pressure. So that's going to pull River over. River's going to have to help him reset this wave and get it back into a better spot.
And I think this is really, really good from FlyQuest, right? Recognizing exactly where 100 Thieves do want to get ahead, setting up quad for success, which again has been a hallmark of their play, especially in playoffs.
Yeah, and just everyone being called over here. Busio was missing for bot. They don't know where Inspired is, so they had to call up Eyla as well. So 3 members here from 100 Thieves trying to fix this wave.
And basically all of the moves have been seen on vision except for the Inspired attempted gank. Good job by the observers. They actually zoomed out and you saw that red ward in the FlyQuest jungle that saw them coming over and saw Inspired trying to get there for a second counter gank. So everybody was well informed on this and just called over the actual resources necessary to get Quid his shove in, to get him his recall, since, as you mentioned, very vulnerable without the flash is going to be a point of continued aggression. And so we'll continue to see the fight over the mid lane vision as Void Grubs will be started out by Amumu. Very, very good champion at taking these Void Grubs very quickly, especially since Inspired was able to get his full Faded Ashes on his first recall. Level 5 comes back out and immediately is able to take them all.
And they just have so much topside pressure off of this Renekton being able to push the Ksante in, right? Like, Bwipo was already proxy farming. It's just a really good setup. Again, I think this is such a great early game from FlyQuest because of how unstable and chaotic 100 Thieves really do like to make their early games.
And you can see it in just the laning phase gold advantage for FlyQuest, plus the extra little bit of gold that you do get off those Void Grubs. Quite nice for them. So strong laning phase gets them their gold lead. It is, in the end, of course, going to be objectives traded on the map, though, since they were alerted to Amumu's presence on the top side. So very standard opening here, but you are right to compliment FlyQuest on their opening. I think especially Inspired's early move to stick around, not go for a recall, get that flash, and you can tell he's looking for it again. This is going to be 3 times he will be around on this top side of the map, and he's actually going to be able to steal away this red this time.
Yeah, and we'll see how much more he can get. They did actually have a ward put over on their Raptors by Quid to try to defend that, but with Bwipo playing between the towers, Ksante can't really respond nearly as fast. They have so much pressure here on that top side and through mid as well, where they have more than a kill worth of gold in the advantage of Quad thanks to that early gank from Inspired.
And River knows that he has to be very careful when retaking this side of the map because the Renekton's been pushing so heavily. Bwipo really affords that extra threat for FlyQuest, and so River doesn't even go into his red quadrant of the jungle, knowing that that's where Inspired definitely was. They see him now as he passes through, and so he's trying to cross.
Yeah, he's actually pinging that he wants to go in for the enemy Raptors, but Inspired is crossing Raptors to Raptors, and engage on the bot side is going to be the cleanse coming out from Tomo. Nice sidestep on the arrow, and that should be the end of the fight. As they are going to look for a re-engage now. Flash forward, and there's no cleanse available. The magical journey, it's not going to get him to safety. Is he going to survive? No. Massu able to finish him off, even with that heal coming through from the Bard.
Busio is dialed in. He's not going to let you get away with that. They burn the cleanse. They actually wait out the timer for the extra CC reduction too, and then he immediately into the ultimate and hits this flash plus stun, and then the Zenith Blade actually catches him while he's still going through magical
going all
journey.
Out onto Bwipo. Bwipo going to have to flash to safety. Does the flash follow come from Sniper? He's going to look for it. Flashes in. The dominance is popped to try to survive, but Sniper wants more. Not going to be able to find it though, as Bwipo does have the stun and the disengage. Sniper looking again, barely misses on the Intofo strikes.
He definitely wanted to go in on that. I really love this response from Sniper as well, recognizing where the rest of FlyQuest are on the map, seeing if he can get something out of it. But on that bot side, to your point, Kobe, we've talked a lot about Massu and his improvement and how good he's been on this Ashe. Busio, in tandem with him, this bot lane together has improved so much over this spring, especially in 2v2 situations like that.
Yeah, you love to see the punish. When teams are going to pick Ezreal with a cleanse and try and let their Bard roam, Busio and Massu just stepping up and not letting him have it. Now the crab fight.
Yeah, River's in trouble here. He's already engaged on, does proc the phase rush and is able to flash out. But it's these advantages that are building and building for FlyQuest. It just feels like they want to play a slow, measured game and take whatever 100 Thieves gives them.
And this is exactly what you want to do with these early Ashe picks. I mean, massive respect to the Rookie of the Year Massu and Busio, his lane partner. It's been such a huge story for FlyQuest that their young bottom lane has actually been a point of power, even throughout international play for them. And here's another look at them surprising Tomo. Tomo very clearly thought that they were recalled already, and so felt like he could quickly push out the wave, but that was the cool re-engage.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is he was able to level up. He knew how close he was to 6, was able to get that ultimate off to stop them. And this is something you see Busio do a lot, sometimes even in isolation, where he'll go up topside as well and just wait in a brush on something like the Leona to try to get
mid.
the
The Bard ult does connect, but do they even have the damage? There's not a lot of follow-up. The True Shot Barrage comes through and knocks onto 2. Quad is forced to flash, but now the onto River, and he has no flash and no way out. Inspired takes him down. They got the grubs as well. They're going to go back in on Tomo, but Inspired has bitten off more than he can chew. He's going to have to flash out defensively. Everyone showing up for the scuffle mid.
Yeah, I was inspired that I was surprised that Inspired wanted to go continue.
You were inspired by his optimism.
I was inspired, yeah.
That was a nice arcane shift from Tomo, trying to bring him under tower. And getting the Amumu flash actually is big, but Inspired still very much ahead in this game. Gets his Leandries completed afterwards too. He is the first completed item on his team. Maokai, of course, with the cheaper option, with the locket being completed. But here's a look at the replay and the setup too. Actually had vision there. So they got early vision. And so that was the call of the extra people coming through afterwards. But pretty nice little Maokai bump there to actually put them in for the double stun from the Bard. Still ends up being a very good counter gank here for the members of FlyQuest. Getting the early alert and that vision, just they allowed them to call the extra people over a couple seconds early.
And this is now 6 grubs going the way of FlyQuest. They have been the ones with the pushing lanes here. They have a 2.5k gold lead already. Things looking excellent for FlyQuest. 100 Thieves have built themselves a bit of a hole, and we'll have to see if they can dig themselves out of it.
And that's another, I guess, it was more often with the Ziggs compositions that 100 Thieves are heavily prioritizing getting the 6 scrubs, but it's another thing that I think FlyQuest have recognized that they do like to fight over. We talked about how aggressive this team is, how much they love to fight specifically over grubs because of the timing, because it can give you a good setup on that. And FlyQuest have done such a good job, again, of making this much slower and stable. And it's kind of similar to that interview Inspired had right before the C9 series.
Yeah, they're going in though, and he is going to get defensively barred ulted. We'll see if Quid can find a way out here. Quad doesn't have a flash to follow. He flashed the ulti in defense, and it is just going to disengage because Inspired, he will show up. So flash forced, but he does survive.
So it's interesting, if you saw the little movement from Quid right before the play went off, he was just about to slide in and go for a play, but Busio caught him there. So they do get the flash and the ultimate down. Still is going to be 100 Thieves starting up this dragon, though. They have teleport, so Quid can get right back.
Yeah, and even though Inspired is here, oh, here we go. Yeah, there, Busio, again, just, he's waiting in a brush. He recognizes when he can go in. The defensive Bard ult comes down, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually like pretty good reaction from Quid. Like he immediately reacted, but still got stunned up. He was trying to dash away from the ultimate, but Leona pinpoint accuracy there and couldn't get far enough away. So nicely done. Still 2 dragons, 400 Thieves is kind of the cost that FlyQuest have paid for their topside focus.
And you have to say, I think it's paying off for FlyQuest because it does feel like they're going to be in a position where they can fight at this next dragon, and that's going to be a pivotal moment in the game here. 400 Thieves, they've given up a lot to get these early dragons, and they have to be able to make good on that. They have to be able to try to threaten a soul. Also, an unfortunate soul spawn for them, as it is going to be Chemtech, which is definitely the least desirable.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest are in such a good spot to fight from here on out. They've made sure that every single one of their leaders is ahead across the board, have netted a neat almost 3K gold lead. And I'm really curious to see, again, Busio out on this map trying to set up traps to go in on fights.
River. Zenith Blade does connect. River caught out here and could be in a lot of trouble. The Bard ult comes through trying to be defensive. Is going to use that Maokai ultimate for a disengage. Can Quid get enough damage through onto Busio to force anything? Doesn't look like it. Both sides, again, will back off, but it is just the ulti force, nothing else from River.
I mean, Busio is just so tanky on this Leona and goes in with the aftershock. Meanwhile, the Maokai on phase rush.
Oh, Sniper found an angle. He's going to go all out. Doesn't quite get him into the tower, but Bwipo has to run. We'll see if he can chase him down. Slice, dice. He's out to safety. Does cause him the ulti. But Sniper putting on some good pressure here in that 1v1.
And one thing I also want to call out from these kind of trap plays that FlyQuest have been setting up, especially with Busio's Leona, is that even if they are only getting ultimates out, those are ultimates that they then 100 Thieves cannot use offensively, right? We saw how much River was able to set up on this Maokai. They keep forcing him to use the Maokai ult and then Eyla's Bard ult defensively instead of being able to use it to initiate a fight.
And speaking of ult economy, you know, if you're trying to fight this third dragon for 100 Thieves, you kind of need to force Quad to use his ultimate on the other side. He has that Sky's Descend, the evolved ultimate on the Azael is ready to go and is so hard to take a committed 5v5 if that is available. So we'll see if we force some sort of a skirmish to get that out. Otherwise, it's going to be tough.
And because they don't have anyone for FlyQuest soaking bottom lane right now, there's going to be a little bit of an opening for 100 Thieves. Azir was able to push on bottom side first, and so Quad had to go down to answer, doesn't have his teleport ready, and so they kind of fish around looking for some vision control in this river that is so critical. This river between mid and bottom lane is like the gank highway, and so whoever has control of the gank highway, you know, has the little bit of advantage there. But honestly, this topside focus from FlyQuest is going to continue to pay off. Like the Void objectives give you so much gold early in tower plates, and they should be able to pick up this Herald no problem well before this Dragon number 3 fight even starts to become an issue.
Ooh,
that's going to be an interesting flash, though.
Yeah.
Ayla's Bard ultimate. Now they can't use the Bard ultimate to deny a Rift Herald charge if that is used soon, but they can punish Quad with no flash.
Yeah, I do like this response from 100 Thieves trying to get at least some damage on this turret bot side. Arrow goes wide.
Yep, not going to be able to connect on the arrow, but something fun to talk about has been, the amount of young talent that has been coming up through the NACL. For all the teams that are actually playing this weekend, 8 out of 15 of the participants did play in the NACL, and a lot of the big stars playing as well. So it has been really nice to see some of these teams that have been committing to developing that young talent really have it pay off, not just for players in supporting roles, but for players that are becoming the new stars, and now they're looking for Quad. No flash available. He gets stunned into the wall. True Shot Barrage is there. He's dead already, and Bwipo could be next. Sniper goes all out. They're going to look for the redive here. Maokai ultimate coming through. It's a 4v1, making a 5v1. He is down. The Croc gets eaten alive in the bot lane.
Yeah, and while FlyQuest will be able to get this first turret mid down from Massu, that's such a great setup for 100 Thieves that was all off of that blown quad flash earlier in the bot side jungle.
And I think even in the losing side of that play for FlyQuest, Quad does not waste his ult, which is very critical with Aurelion Sol, because you really do have to, take a while to stack up the supercharged ultimate. But his thought process here is, I am dead, so I'm saving this for the dragon fight. So that makes me think that FlyQuest will fight Dragon number 3 to stop the dragon stacking from 100 Thieves. But still, it's a very good call for 100 Thieves, because FlyQuest have been investing so heavily in the Rift Herald side and the Void Grub side of the map. They send everybody bottom side. And even though, as you pointed out afterwards, Emily, they do trade their mid tower, so it's going to be tower for tower, they get the extra kills, they get a play on their terms.
Oh, re-engage. Eyla going to have to flash the ulti there. They're not going to be able to find more, but that is flash down on Tomo and Eyla, and it looks like the heal. So we did miss a little bit of the start of that exchange, but all the summoners getting forced here from the 100 Thieves bot lane could be problematic, and River as well. Kind of slowly walking this one back towards Quid. Will they look for a re-engage here? A Sniper on the other side gets caught by the Amumu ulti, but that is a tanky Ksante. Can he get out? Gonna have to flash over the wall, and on the other side, Bwipo is getting chained down, but in comes Quad with the falling skies here defending him. Amumu gets the kill onto Ksante, and it is the only loss in the fight. True Shot Barrage gonna get thrown up towards top, but nothing there for him. That is the ulti expended. Can there be a re-engage now? River going to look with the Maokai ultimate here onto Quad. He's got to run. Busio does block for his mid laner, but they push up. They will be able to knock down this tier 1 tower here. Dragon has spawned. Neither team is heading down for it just yet.
And that was a really nice, kind of who is going to be able to tank up this damage first, right? Between the Renekton and the Ksante. They are able to get the kill on Sniper, but I actually really did like 100 Thieves' response right here as this was happening in mid lane at the same time. Oh, okay, so Massu arrowed Tomo, and then, and then Leona ult goes wide. This stretches out a lot further. And here's what I was talking about with, on this side of the fight, on the left side of the fight, you have Bwipo soaking up all this damage. Meanwhile, they catch onto Sniper, and Bwipo is able to survive with Quad coming in and laying down that massive Aurelion Sol ult cleared out.
Exactly. The Aurelion Sol kind of covering the escape for Bwipo, and now the dragon.
Yeah, Tomo going to be pushed over the wall. He does have the cleanse, is going to be able to get out of there, but now no summoners left here on Tomo. That did cost them the Leona ulti. 100 Thieves has focus here on the dragon, inspired in range to try to steal it. Is going to get bound up here. Not going to be able to grab it though. Third dragon does go their way, and now Massu caught by the Bard ulti. Bwipo threatening on the side, looking for Eyla, but the magical journey takes him to safety. He goes inspired. It's a 3-man ulti. It's only on the front line, but can they get away? Doesn't look like it. Quid's gonna scoop him back, and on the side, Bwipo is chasing Tomo, pushes him out of the fight. They get the dragon, but they lose members here. And can FlyQuest go to Baron or get something else is the real question.
Well, they've got the Rift Herald that they popped at the beginning of the fight in mid lane, so it has actually passively pushed the mid lane for them. And they're actually sending the Aurelion Sol up to the top side, everybody just getting reset. So it looks like it's just gonna be minions pushed out in the aftermath.
And on the back half of that fight, again, credit to Bwipo's setup to be able to really make sure that he was getting into the back line as we watch Quad trying to get on to Tomo, and then Bwipo making sure later on the backside, we see the little Herald driving in. I don't think Quid or Quad should be allowed to drive Herald.
Nope, the Herald then just going off on its own business as the rest of the fight broke out. And even with the super blast cone there blasting the Renekton back, it's Inspired who's able to keep up the chase. And so Inspired's able to get a big ultimate utilizing the flash to chase down a couple members. Double kill for the Aurelion Sol is not what 100 Thieves want to see. So even though 100 Thieves were able to acquire their third dragon for the dragon stacking, extra money into the Aurelion Sol. The question mark is for his questionable driving, but still got paid.
He can drive the dragon.
Yeah,
That's more important.
there you
Exactly.
go. He can drive the Aurelion Sol, well piloted to get the kills. The Rift Herald might take a little bit more practice.
Might need to go back for that learner's permit, you know?
Well, I mean, it was Quid last time, right? Who was, as we see Bwipo getting this tier 1 bot. It was
My
Quid
greatest
last time who
challenge,
did
Quid versus Quad.
Yeah, the circle, and their greatest challenge is the Rift Herald.
It's true, exactly.
I think the coolest thing, too, is that with these outer towers down, FlyQuest, with the amount of engage that they have, should have a pretty easy time setting up well before the Dragon Soul fight actually gets there, and then looking for engages on 100 Thieves. I honestly think 100 Thieves might just give up that next dragon and try and trade something elsewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the setup is going to look for, like that, because we have seen a lot of trading back and forth. The summoner economy, the ult economy is so important prior to these big fights. Also something we haven't touched on yet, but Eyla did use it earlier, was that first item Mikhail's that he grabbed. He saw that use on Tomo earlier, so now it is the Mikhail's and the cleanse that you have to track both of them. They have good answers for the Ashe arrow, for the Leona ulti that could be coming through. Bwipo, potential to get chased down, but it looks like Bard is going to back off, and it's just going to be the dominance forced here. And Bwipo should be able to walk this one out.
Meanwhile, they're contesting vision leading up to Baron 2, and you see the Aurelion Sol kind of threatening a roam down, but Quad will return as another minion wave on top side requires his attention. Got to keep those stacks up, keep acquiring the Stardust so that you can scale into the late game monster that we all know and love.
Yeah, and this does give 100 Thieves a little bit of time to push up for vision here. We'll see if they're looking for something. Yeah.
Yeah, Inspired goes fishing with the bandage toss and forces the flash there from Eyla. Was nervous about getting caught. Of course, he is pretty squishy with that Mikhail's rush here. Has Merc Treads, has a little bit of HP. But if you do get CC'd up, you are going to be going down. River and him are fighting for it. Oof. Nice try on the ulti, but it's a swing and a miss. When you're that close, you can just basically point and click it. You don't really have to predict. You can't really dodge without a flash from that close. The wind up on the ASol fly is too slow to get out, but Eyla maybe didn't have perfect vision and tried to predict where his opponent was going to go.
Currently now, Bwipo on his two favorite items.
Eyla caught out now. Zenith Blade connects. Can he get through the magical journey? He can. The self Mikhail's there comes through from Eyla to get out of that route and get back to safety. These tools, though, are being forced ever so slowly. Now no flash, no Mikhail's on Eyla, no ulti on Eyla. And that could be a concern as the dragon is coming up in 50 seconds. You talked about, Kobe, they might not want to fight it, and this could push them even more to going elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I think a bit of concern for 100 Thieves is the Renekton. Bwipo, once you do get your Black Cleaver and Sterix combination, this is where he plays really, really ham in the team fights, as well as being able to get side lane priority. So 100 Thieves have had to really utilize Quid as the split pusher, the Azir here, with the extra range and the safety, because Sniper is a little bit behind, around 900 to 1,000 gold behind in the individual side lane matchup. But it is going to be a full recall, reset, and teleport out for Quad. So the Aurelion Sol is arriving with a spell shield on.
Oh, Inspired is spotted. They're going to try to go for him on the side, but on the other side, it's Busio engaging on Tomo. Tomo taking a lot of damage. He doesn't want to go through the magical journey because Bwipo's waiting there, and River's knocked down as Massu and Quad go forward. Bwipo flashes in. The skies descend, and it's right onto the head of 100 Thieves. They are running, but they can't get out fast enough. Two members do fall. The jungle and the mid die. The dragon will be taken by FlyQuest, and you have to think they could get even more after it.
Yeah, really well set up. Again, Bwipo was here in the brush on that ward as he was coming in, being like, you kind of want to jump on me, right? Like, you want to go in. They funnel everyone into a really good spot mid. Inspired is able to come around for the flank. And then, again, Quad, we knew he would be in such a great position coming into these team fights with the damage on the Aurelion Sol. They're going to easily get Baron off of this. And they should. FlyQuest, whoa. That was pretty close.
My heart is pumping right there. Like, as a jungle, you definitely feel that one. Timing pretty close from Tomo, but not good enough. FlyQuest secure it. Inspired handles it. And now they're trying to push for tower.
Yeah, we'll see if they want to try to look for a dive here. Eyla wrapping around behind him. Can't find binding onto the tower. Now they're going to look for Eyla. That's a swing and a miss, but Eyla going to get engaged on. Tries for the self McHale's. It just doesn't matter. And the Ashe arrow from downtown hits onto Quid. He's going to be sent packing there as Massu pushes him back.
The three-person defense was beautiful. I want to point out Quad's position on where he put the black hole for Aurelion Sol. It sucked the minions away from the tower range. And FlyQuest, not only do they get the team fight victory into the Baron, they get free access right into the base.
Quid's got no flash, and they get in onto him. He's stunned up, and he is gone. The mid laner has fallen for 100 Thieves. Tomo trying to hold the line here with the rest of his team, but they don't have a lot of wave clear. They don't have a lot of pressure. In goes Inspired. Wow. It's a three-man ulti, and you have to think that could be it for game number 1. Massu pushing them back. They're going to march on the Nexus towers. Tomo, River, Sniper healing up in the fountain, but one tower has fallen. They're targeting the second. Sniper and River have got to go forward. They're going to look for Bwipo. Can they actually knock him down? The tower's about to fall. The tower is gone, and so is River. Sniper pulls him back into the fountain, gets one kill, but the target is on the Nexus. They can't stop him. FlyQuest take game number 1.
What a great game 1 from FlyQuest. It really felt like they understood exactly how 100 Thieves want to play these games, had all the answers for it. Busio and Massu on this pick lane of Leona and Ashe is so deadly coming out of FlyQuest, and as soon as they got the Baron, they were able to close out.
The majority of the plays the entire game coming from FlyQuest. Bottom lane playing well, Inspired as well on this Amumu, really leading the team. FlyQuest absolutely controlled in game number 1, whereas 100 Thieves, even starting out with the level 1 face check, already starting the series a little bit on the back foot, a little bit behind. They have to calm down here because FlyQuest look like the team to beat.
Absolutely, adjustments will need to be made by 100 Thieves, and we're going to hear from the lounge of what they